House of Kayfabe, ladies and gentlemen. Brian Resner here. I am sitting here with Steven Barker, the other Steve, Adam Harris, and we are talking about one thing, and it's not House of Kayfabe. Yeah, LA Knight is on fire, and you know the only thing that I can say, Steve Barker, is I told you so.
I'm gonna give you your due. I'm gonna give you your due, Brian. I became aware of him for the first time, and this is a big blind spot now that he's hit my algorithm. I'm seeing all kinds of stuff from Impact. I'm seeing stuff from NWA all over my YouTube algorithm, and I didn't get on to him until NWA when they came back, and I was, of course, watching because the God Emperor was announcing, and he was the guy. I know that Nick Aldis was the guy, and I love him, but Eli Drake, I immediately, within one promo, was like, this is what I like about wrestling. And Brian Resner's been talking about Eli Drake, aka LA Knight, longer than any Mark that I know.
Yeah, well, you know, really, what you just said is crazy, because Eli Drake in TNA or in Impact, Eli Drake in Impact was better than Eli Drake now. Like, that's the sad part. Is this character that you're seeing ripping through the terrible selection of the name L.A. Knight that immediately makes you think of British Knights or
Max
L.A.
Dupree.
Lights or L.A. Lights from the late 80s, early 90s. Nothing should make me think of a blinking shoe if you wanted to get over a blinking shoe from the 80s at least. But either way, he fought through this terrible name choice when he had Eli Drake. That name is perfect. But he took the LA Knight name and he got the entire, that conversation went like, as long as it's 3 syllables, I don't care. Change it to whatever you want. As long as he can go LA Knight like he did Eli Drake, what you're seeing is a version, which is a great version, because you can come down 3 pegs and still be amazing if you are L.A. Knight or Eli Drake. And Eli Drake, L.A. Knight, on fire. Absolute fire.
I hate to break it to you guys, but I'm going to chime in to tell you that obviously he couldn't be Eli Drake because it's too close to Elias.
Yes, that's the reason.
Or Eli Blue.
Yeah, that's right. We know he was from the lineage that contains Eli Blue, and what was the other one? Eli
Chris Harris, Jacob Blue.
Well, yeah, but the other Eli was Chris Harris's name, right? Wasn't that
Wildcat? What was his name?
In WWE?
Was it Elijah? Maybe. If Matt Mullins was here, he would know. Adam Harris.
I thought you were going to know that one, Brian, but
no, you got me on that one.
So, Adam Harris, while you're looking that up, I think that you might be not a detractor, but I am going to guess, because I know you so well, and I've been doing so good at these predictions of Adam Harris, that you are not 1,000% bought in to LA Knight like we are.
Oh, well, I just didn't think he was going to win Money in the Bank, which he didn't. And I think that was a perfect lead up to this. I mean, he's making us all thirst for the big pop. Whatever push they're giving him, it's going to be a slow build. So I didn't think that I wouldn't have chose him to win Money in the Bank. As you guys know, I was thinking that Logan Paul was the only choice. But I do think they did the right thing with Damian Priest. Should he have gone over in that match, Brian? Do you still think he should have been Money in the Bank?
Well, here's the thing. He doesn't need it. No. LA Knight doesn't need the
That's
money.
That's what Adam said.
Nope.
Or I keep calling him Eli. LA Knight is going to get over regardless whether he has the Money in the Bank or he doesn't. So really it doesn't matter. But Damian Priest, I'm not into that selection at all. I feel like the Money in the Bank is a gimmick, and you're giving it to a person to run this gimmick. And Damian Priest's entire stable and everything, none of that matches up with the character of Mr. Money in the Bank.
Senior Money in the Bank. which is a bit of a gimmick. That works for. And dude, you call him Eli Drake because I still call him Punishment Martinez, being a Ring of Honor mark. So look, man, you're gonna have to flash the MIB flasher to get me to drop some of these names. I've called him Punishment Martinez on the pod more than I have Damian Priest. Getting back.
Sorry, update here. Braden Walker was Chris Harris's name.
Walker.
I thought it was Eli Walker, I think, but it was Braden Walker. So I was off.
Braden
Chris
Walker
Harris.
Eli Blue
nothing to
remains
do.
the only real Eli star in wrestling history.
And
So-
how many wrestling fans would actually be able to identify who Eli Blue was?
Jacob
That's
and
an
Eli?
interesting one. I know exactly who Jacob and Eli, the Bruise brothers.
People who like
AKA
wrestling so
Ron and
much
Don
that's on
Harris,
podcasts.
Chains and 8 Ball. How many names can
That's
we
right.
go through with those guys?
People who have wrestling podcasts who know way too much about wrestling would know who Eli and Jacob Blue
Yeah,
was.
those
And
are the
Adam, who
guys
was their
of the House of
manager?
Kayfabe, for sure.
Who was their manager?
Dutch Mantel, Dirty Dutch, as
right.
Uncle Zebekiah, right?
Uncle Zebekiah. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. I'll
So-
get
so
my
Brian
check at the door.
So Brian Rezzer, LA Knight is depending on if Vince really is back into a little bit of control. We know that Vince does not like when the crowd acts out of turn. It's one of the things that they talk about. He doesn't like about English, British crowds. He thinks they go in business for themselves, and sometimes he will punish us. Brian Resner, is LA Knight going to be a victim of his own success?
I do not believe so, because I don't feel like this is as organic as you feel. I believe
think it
that
is.
I really don't think it is. I don't think it's as organic as you feel. And like I said just a minute ago, this is not the best version I've seen of this person. If they let him run wild like he did in Impact when he won the world championship, that right there, that character right there would be over even more than what's going on right here. You need to let him go.
So tell us
Let
what's
him
the
do
difference.
what he does.
For those of us
Well,
who've not watched him, tell us what's the difference.
Well, for one, I'm not into the I'm not into the Stone Cold vest. This thing, and you're doing there's a little bit, you heard what Kevin Nash said.
It's the elephant in the room.
It is the elephant in the room. And Kevin Nash said that he's picking parts from other people, but he's not giving him the credit for the time he spent when he didn't do that. There was a time when he was not. Now, yes, those Stone Cold vests, that's kind of biting. Some of those head nods he's doing recently, that's kind of biting. It's kind of biting someone else's style. And I'll go with partially what Kevin Nash said. If Kevin Nash would have identified the fact that there was a time in this guy's career, which wasn't too long ago, in Impact, when he was doing what he's doing now, but organically without being coached, because I think he's totally being coached by some of the things that he's doing to bite from other people's style, like The Rock or Stone Cold. And he's just playing it to the best of his ability. It's all he's ever done. The entire time, it's all he's ever done. If Billy Corgan would have booked this man against Nick Aldis in NWA, NWA might actually be taken seriously right now.
I think it was headed that way. I think it was headed that way for him
I
in
think
NWA.
it would have been a bigger move to have that feud. It would have been a bigger move than putting Tyrus on Fox News, which is a nationwide program. That's really saying something, because I think that was the best move for them at the time, to put that on Tyrus and have him on TV.
Yep.
But I believe that a Nick Aldis, Eli Drake feud would have put NWA on the map.
It's interesting to hear that about Kevin Nash, who did completely 100% original stuff for his entire career. I think also other known coppers include maybe Lennon, McCartney, perhaps Hemingway even. Should we talk about Mozart, Bach, Beethoven? I think that's bullshit. Of course, we're starving for something that reminds us of The Rock and of Stone Cold and of
That's
D'Lo
true.
Brown. I mean, my God. And nothing's been this over. Do you guys remember Kofi Mania?
Yeah.
You remember when Kofi got over and we
long.
thought he was going to win that Elimination Chamber match against Daniel Bryan, but it was right before Mania, and they held it out just perfectly. And that's the only thing I can compare in recent memory of anybody getting over like this. I think it's probably more organic. I don't know if Brian thinks that the Max Dupree part was supposed to happen or not? What do you think about that? Was that a diversion, or is that part of your calculated build?
I feel like, that's a good question, because I see what you're saying. There is an organic aspect to what's going on here. But I guess I'm just angry at the WWE for screwing it up until now. Like, you've had this guy forever. Right. It's like someone just reminded you, hey, this guy's 40 fucking years old. Let's do something with him because he's got some talent. And that's another thing that nobody considers. Everybody's looking at him like he is brand new on the scene. He's 40. Mm-hmm. He's been doing this a very long time. We have a very limited amount of time, even if he is incredible, as the most incredible people that we have seen. If he is a Ricky Steamboat, he still only has a short amount of time with us to do something special.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that it is crazy that WWE has fumbled it up until this point. And I don't think they're necessarily doing it right, but it's still getting over because anybody can see that this man is talented.
Definitely.
Beyond belief.
Yeah, what I want to expound on what Adam just said. As a musician, I can tell you where I stole every note. And that is not my quote. That is Buddy Rich's, which is widely regarded as one of the greatest drummers of all time, if not the greatest drummer of all time. Kevin Nash doesn't watch a lot of wrestling. He watches WWE just so he could do his podcast with Sean, whatever his name from Shoots. I watch. I'm a pretty regular watcher of his clips and such. So he definitely wasn't watching Impact. And who has?
No.
The fact that you have is because you and Derek Jones and 7 other people have kept up with Impact. I watch TNA, but now all of that stuff is now resurfacing and helping him, which shows you if the algorithm is feeding you, that means there's a lot of people feeding the algorithm to regurgitate that. And I've never searched for an LA Knight or Eli Drake, nothing. And he's been on my feed at least once a day for like the last 10 days at least. And it's all stuff with him in like a suit, with the Impact Championship, just doing his thing. And even I don't think that was like a completely different character, because even in the NWA, I was like, oh yeah, he's like Stone Cold and The Rock. I like those two things. It's really that. And
that's when it kind of started.
Well, when, Kevin Nash said that, fucking Ric Flair was not even the first Nature Boy. As the Bare Naked Lady said, it's all been done. So we all are an amalgamation of our influences. But here's the thing about Eli Drake, the LA Knight, is if you watched another thing that showed up on my feed, was this guy for years was the motion capture specimen, whatever they use for the video games. So he's talked about, he did The Rock. So when you see The Rock in a certain era of video game, that's fucking LA Knight.
And that's how you can tell every move counts as he's walking to the ring. Just like you said, he realizes how important every single move is. Not to interrupt you, Barker.
Yeah. Like my point is this guy.
You know who else does that?
Who?
Chase Stevens.
I don't know who that is.
Chase Stevens, he was in the Naturals. He's the guy who did a shooting star press off the top of the cage at TNA and landed on his neck and broke his neck.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But Eli Drake has shown that
he's good now, and he does that same thing that Eli's talking about.
And here's the thing, Rez, me and you are close to the same age. I'm a few years older than my man here, and he's just Greta Van Fleet in a good way. We're like, we are we're Gen Xers. He's Gen X. We're Gen Xers, right? We love The Rock. We love Stone Cold. And here's my scorching hot take, and I want to send it back to you, Brian. Here's the thing. LA Knight is a better technical wrestler than The Rock and Stone Cold. He's not a better technical wrestler than stunning Steve Austin. But people forget, because we look back with rose-colored glasses, when Stone Cold was the greatest, biggest thing that the wrestling world has ever seen, he had 2 blown out knees and then a broke neck. So he was a brawler. He had a very limited skill set, as the kids say. But dude, he's an amazing wrestler. I think we can get so caught up in his promos because we've been waiting for that kind of promo, like a grown ass man promo. We've been getting that with the Bloodline, obviously, but there's something different with him, and he's a great amalgamation of his influences, which is what every artist is. Not to call him an artist, Jim Cornette, I'm sorry.
Well, and before Brian takes it, I just wanted to say that there's all these great clips going around, including the one of him face to face with Matt Hardy doing like delete, yeah, you know, and some people. But my favorite my favorite Eli Drake of all is not Tough Enough Eli Drake. It's not car washing commercial Eli Drake. It's I'm shopping at Aldi with my girlfriend Eli Drake in the commercial. This guy has been working hard for years, guys. He's been getting over in multiple industries for a long time.
I've not seen that one yet.
Put the belt on him is what I'm saying. Put the
he's an entertainer.
Belt on his waist, man. He's earned it.
He's absolutely an entertainer, and he has been for a very, very long time. It's really shitty to see people that get overlooked for so long. And you think about, like, if somebody would have been on this guy 15 years ago, wow, where would he be?
Someone was, but they just maybe wasn't the right person.
Yeah,
obviously.
And he had to build to get here too, I think. You know what I mean? Like 15 years ago, maybe he wasn't ready.
Well, I just wanted to say one thing about what Mr. Barker said about Impact. You put TNA over, and you were like, but I don't watch Impact. And I understand your stance, because there's been a lot of Impact that's been crap. But there was a small period of time when Drew McIntyre was the champion and Bobby Lashley was the champion, and it led all the way up to Eli Drake becoming the champion.
Who did he win the championship from?
I want to say, man, I can't remember.
Might have been Lashley, right? I don't know.
You look that up, Adam Harris. He beat someone for that title. I am positive, and it was a great run. It was a great run of champions. So Impact's not all bad.
If it ain't got Jeff Jarrett, I ain't watching, son. And so I'm a simple man. Okay, so Brian,
simple man with simple needs.
So Brian, as a former promoter, go ahead, fantasy book us. How do we get LA Knight in front of Roman Reigns?
Well, you know what? I think that is exactly where the trajectory is, and that's what I was actually going to say. Great minds think alike. Roman Reigns is the Rock in this scenario, and they are looking for the Austin, and this is their answer to the Austin. That's why I feel like the machine is behind him. When I say it isn't organic, I'm not saying it didn't start organic. Maybe it started organic, but I mean, it's obvious. Anybody in the room with this person could say that is the most talented person in the room. I mean, it's easy to pick that out about this man. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, he's like when he was getting over, if you remember, he was losing every week. Every week he was losing.
That terrible thing he had with Bray Wyatt.
Oh, he survived the Mountain Dew match.
Absolutely.
He's bulletproof.
The Cosmic Bowling match can't even take down Eli Drake, LA Knight.
I feel like I'm harping on it, but man,
I can't find it. There's too many friggin' things. Impact Grand Champions, the King of the Mountain Championship shot. There's too many things on here. It's
and there you go. And that is
probably beat Drew Galloway or Bobby Lashley.
I'm pretty sure it was one of them. But either way, it was a
Matt Morgan
champions. It was a great time. It might have been Jim Morrison or John Morrison, actually.
Oh my
Tell
God!
us in the
Matt
comments,
Morgan.
ladies and gentlemen. Tell
us in the comments. Matt Morgan blueprint fucking jump in right there. Wow. So Brian, you have the book. How do we get LA Knight from the Mountain Dew match? Max Dupree first. Cosmic Bowling Mountain Dew match. And then a long line of making fun of Xavier Woods' video gaming, and then losing to him and losing and losing and losing, but the whole time still just getting over. You know, maybe AEW is right. You know, wins don't matter, because it's not been that he's beaten anybody. Remember, Austin Theory beat John Cena. This motherfucker ain't beaten nobody. Right, and he's the third most over in the company behind the Bloodline.
That's a great point.
Seth and LA Knight, who ain't beat nobody. I think he beat Baron.
Well, that is what you have to create. Is you have to create a winner out of him before he even gets in the same world as Roman Reigns. If you notice, they're not coming anywhere near each other, and that is on purpose because they have to build LA Knight up to that level. But when they do, and there's no one left for LA Knight to get a victory over, then it's going to come to Roman Reigns, and you're going to have two major fan favorites who've stayed away from each other for a long period of time, and you're going to bring them together, and it's going to be magic. The only thing I hope is that they don't screw that up too and do it like a lot of these things. They try, like Seth Rollins and AJ, they kept them apart because it just made sense. That's going to be the greatest match of all time, and they've screwed it up 3 different times. They can't get Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles right.
Give Brian what he wants.
That's
what he wants.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that you have to throw that thing together at last minute every single time, and it's just disappointed in that, and I'm afraid I'll be disappointed with Eli Drake and Roman Reigns. And
how do you get him there? Like, what do you do?
Literally you run him through people like you did Stone Cold Steve Austin, building up to Bret Hart. LA Knight needs a Bret Hart. First of all,
who's
LA
that?
Knight? Somebody has to confirm this man's badassery. Like you said, he ain't beat anybody.
Mm-hmm.
He has to confirm his badassery by beating the hell out of a couple guys and then challenging somebody that everybody respects.
Shinsuke.
And hell, Stone Cold didn't even beat Bret.
Mm-mm.
He didn't even beat him.
That's true.
So, like he doesn't even have to win this match. He just has to prove himself like Stone Cold did. Like, really, you're already on the path. Stick to what you know. Recreate some of this stuff, but have enough creativity to take into context what Kevin Nash said and make the necessary changes so that this man can be original. Because I'm telling you, if you watch the Impact that I'm talking about, and even if you watch some of the NWA stuff, you're going to see a very original character. Do you remember the TV show he had where he interviewed people and he had this red buzzer and they'd start talking and he'd hit the button and it'd be like, yeah, dummy, yeah. He was shit was on fire, man. And he was top of the top in Impact, just like he's about to be top of the top in the WWE. And I'm excited for him.
Brian books with his heart, son. WWE is poised to break your heart, I'm afraid. But
I believe so.
But Adam, like, I'm with you. I think it's 1,000% organic. This guy got beat week after week, and they still let him have the mic to let him get over.
Right. Which I hope they continue to do now. Turn into the same storyline they always do, which is, oh, this person's getting over. Let's book the Authority against him. And next thing you know, it's, whoever it is. I mean, whether it's Triple H and Stephanie or somebody else, you know what I mean? Like, they did that to Daniel Bryan. They kind of almost did it to Kofi a little bit. Even it's like anybody that's getting organically over, they have to like take that step and say, oh, well, the Office is going to hold them down.
You don't see a difference in what happened with Daniel Bryan and what happened with LA Knight.
Oh, I see the difference. I'm just saying I don't want.
Well, I'm saying, do you see the
take
difference
the same approach?
Well, I'm just saying there's a huge difference there.
Well, Daniel was an indie star. Is that what you mean? Is that they?
No. I can't really explain it. It's like it feels like Daniel Bryan got over with the Yes Chance. And we had entire buildings that were just going nuts with that. And you couldn't stop that. I feel as if the LA Knight thing has the machine's support.
But if you remember,
like Daniel Bryan had that same support. I feel like LA Knight right now, the whole office is like, yes, get more popular. Where with Daniel Bryan, they were like, hey, can you like calm it down a little bit?
Maybe you might be right. You might be right.
Well, they did. Well, you're right. I'll give you evidence because they also beat Daniel Bryan when he was at the beginning of the Yes. It wasn't all the way big, all the way it got. It might even been no. But remember, Daniel Bryan was getting over him. They beat him at WrestleMania in 2 seconds. Right?
That's where Yes came from. Basically, it was the night after that. Yeah, they were burying his ass.
But they were burying him for a reason because they did not want him to get over.
Mm-hmm.
LA Knight, I believe they want to get over. I think
hope
they
you're
understand it. And honestly, I think the Daniel Bryan thing taught them something. And I feel as if Kofi is no different than LA Knight. You know, Kofi Mania. Oh, that's organic. No, it's not. The Machine got 100% behind Kofi Mania, and that was them trying to create the Daniel Bryan thing. Instead of the Daniel Bryan thing just happening to them, they were like, okay, let's pick the guy that gets over like this and see if we can pull it off as good as Daniel Bryan did organically. And they couldn't, but it went over well enough for Kofi to get a little bit of a push there. But now, it's like it never happened.
So, Brian, wrap us up. Tell the good people that you are going to predict right now LA Knight WrestleMania 40 main event.
No.
Question mark? But go ahead. Wrap us up here
maybe.
with LA Knight.
That is very possible. And it's a really poses a question that could take us here about 15 more minutes. But WrestleMania, are we going to see LA Knight in the main event? I really want to know what you think, Adam Harris. Do you think that's a possibility for WrestleMania 40 when WrestleMania goes hardcore? I hope they're doing that.
Could be. I mean, where will we be in Roman Reigns' historic reign at that point is the question. And I don't see Eli Drake getting there. I don't see LA Knight getting there. I could see him maybe even by that point getting maybe a Money in the Bank. What do you think? Or maybe he's up to the Intercontinental level by that point, or a U.S. champ. Again, he doesn't need it. I mean, they could put him on TV. And as you were saying, Brian, he's had so many great segments backstage. He doesn't even need to have wrestling matches for that matter. He could be backstage.
He could be Danhausen.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he could potentially be over. He's remained healthy thus far, you know, and I just hope that remains the case. What's he doing at WrestleMania 40, man? Good question. You're right, Brian. That's like a part 2.
It really is. And you know, we haven't also talked about the fact that he's mentioned retiring.
Boo, I'm not buying that.
He's working. Work.
Yeah. I think that's his response to people talking about his age.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm going to retire.
He doesn't look 40. I mean, I'm 6 years older than him, and I look about fucking 20 years older than him. So, I mean, like, I don't think that. And the thing about, you go back with go back to AJ, he's my age. He's exactly 46, and he ain't look at 46. Although, little hair dye in there. That's I know what hair dye looks like, bro. I know. I think that he's got to move quickly, because I think they can get 5-6 good years out of him. And when you remember, The Rock at the top was only 5 or 6 years. I think a lot of people look back at The Rock, and he was 96 to 2001 maybe 02-ish maybe. I think the Scorpion King came out in 99 or 2000, and he was, you know, not much long gone after that. Roman Reigns has got to leave eventually. He's going to go to fucking Hollywood. He's going to be making motion pictures, baby, and he's going to be gone. So they got to have
actually a good opportunity for him now. If he wants to be a scab actor, he could make his way into Hollywood. Might be finally the time for the jump.
I thought about that. Or does that mean that WWE writers are on strike as well?
That's a great freaking question. I guarantee you they're not in any union.
I thought about that.
No,
I think they can't
not.
be, right? They no. They're probably calling their buddies like, "We're on strike, man. Fuck you." I'm at Vince's house writing TV at fucking midnight on a Tuesday. Brian Resner.
There are no union dues in WWE.
Yeah, no.
Well,
wrap us up on LA Knight. Yeah.
It is going to be interesting what we are going to see in the next few months from LA Knight and where he's going to be when it comes time for WrestleMania 40. I believe that his time is coming after WrestleMania 40, but I'm not sure how long after WrestleMania 40. If you had to put it on a measuring stick of when were we going to see LA Knight versus Roman Reigns, what would you say, Adam Harris?
It's got to be after. It's got to be after whatever the longest reign is. I mean, I feel like they're going to stick with Roman until he's the new modern era Hulk Hogan. It's got to be longer than Hogan. It's longer than Bruno. whatever that is, 2025. Is that what they said?
He can't go Bruno, but he can go Hulk. Because Hogan's longest, if I'm not mistaken, and somebody sent this meme in our chat group one day, available for Patreon, highly redacted. And I think Hulk Hogan is like 1350. So if we keep going to WrestleMania and a little after WrestleMania, he can get to Hulk Hogan. And WWE has many reasons to want to erase Hulk Hogan as the modern champion, if you know what I'm saying out there, you know. So they have that.
It's
Cody's
time, I think.
There's Cody is there too. And let me go back, and we do have to end this video eventually. Let me go back when I said that he's the third most over. LA Knight's the fourth most over, because it's the bloodline, it's Cody, it's Seth, and then it's LA Knight. And two, 3 and 4 is real goddamn close. I think
Agreed.
that it could be SummerSlam after WrestleMania, but that depends on, does Cody win in WrestleMania? And that's another damn video on its own. We gotta do more
and
content
you're
because
also
we got
not even
so much stuff.
You're not even mentioning Jey Uso.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Because
was just thinking
Jey
that
Uso-
too.
Chance.
Jey Uso could very well defeat Roman Reigns and end the reign. He could be the guy.
No,
He could be the guy.
no.
He could be, but also there could be some matches between him and LA Knight in the meantime, in between
my
time,
thought
or
is-
after.
My thought is we're looking at not this WrestleMania, but next WrestleMania, and it will be Roman Reigns challenging LA Knight for the title
Oh
instead
wow.
of LA Knight challenging Roman Reigns for the
Whoa.
title, because Roman Reigns will have dropped it to a Jey Uso or a Cody Rhodes, and LA Knight will pick up the victory over them, not Roman.
I think Roman Reigns will be making Fast and Furious or 11 by then, is what I think by that time. So let's
Man,
wrap
it's
us
so
up.
exciting
Get us
to
out
be a
this
wrestling
video.
fan right now.
It
Man.
is,
So
it
much good
is.
shit. Good shit.
I don't believe that Roman Reigns is ever going to leave like The Rock. And if he does leave, he's going to leave like John Cena, not like The Rock. I personally believe that. I don't think that he is going to be as successful in Hollywood as he is in professional wrestling.
He's already been in a big movie. He was in The Rock's
He was,
solo
but he
Fast and
wasn't
Furious movie.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter unless you're the star, and he wasn't the
Yeah.
star. So when he becomes a star of a major motion picture and it does really well at the box office, then we can have a conversation about that. And until then, he's the Miz or anybody else that's been in a movie.
Ugh.
Sid was in a movie, guys. Sid,
Sid Vicious?
yeah,
What was he in?
he was in Rated Rumble.
Oh, that doesn't count. Being in
I think
Ready to
Goldberg was in
Rumble,
that
don't- fuck off. Okay.
Goldberg
Wrap
was
us up,
in
Brian,
Universal
before you
Soldier.
get
I
the
could
fuck
sit here
out
and
of
talk
here.
about-
Get us the fuck out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think about LA Knight in the comments, and we will be back to talk more about LA Knight and other things here in the house of kayfabe. I have been.